When They See Us, directed by Anna DuVernay, is a powerful retelling of the Central Park Five, now referred to as the Exonerated Five story. The series follows their unlawful detainment and wrongful conviction in 1989 to their release in 2002 and compensation in 2014. To analyse Landsberg assertion at the centre of this study, through repression and reification, the Exonerated Five stories remained inaccessible to the public eye, which allowed them, and by extension, Black and Latino American communities to be vilified and scapegoated by the police, the media, and even public figures such as Donald Trump, who took out ads in the paper calling for the reinstatement of the death penalty. When They See Us reproduces an untold and misguided past event, generating empathy for the Exonerated Five by recentering them as victims rather than villains. This analysis focused on a specific scene from episode 4 from 48 minutes and 50 seconds to 53 minutes and 50 seconds as it addresses the individual body of Corey Wise in an intimate way, focusing on him in solitary confinement as he imagines a version of his past in which he didn't go to the park and instead stayed with his girlfriend at a fast food counter. As Landsberg writes, images and narratives about the past that are focused on the worlds of individuals have the capacity to affect profoundly an individual's subjectivity. By focusing on the individual world of Corey Wise, the sequence specifies the trauma and injustice of the Exonerated Five by focusing on the individual, making it easier for the audience to connect to on an individual level. Additionally, the technologies of reproduction employed in the sequence, including cinematography, lighting, sound, and Jarrell Jerome's performance, are what Landsberg terms powerful conduits for the generation of empathy. At the beginning of the sequence, lighting and mise-en-scène are used effectively to construct Corey's cell environment. The color palette is dominated by cold, desaturated blues and blacks, with a single high-contrast shaft of light slicing horizontally through the bars of a small window. The high contrast creates a chiaroscuro effect which engulfs Corey's face, creating the impression that he's lost in some sort of abyss, devoid of hope in a sort of nowhere space within the system that so many other young Black and Latino American boys find themselves lost in. Mise-en-scène is further used effectively as the empty cell comprised of 4 walls and a slab for a bed is juxtaposed with the vibrant fast food encounter from Corey's memories. The set is decorated with red diamond tiles, neon posters, and littered with food wrappers and cups that highlight an abundancy that has now been deprived to Corey, a point that is emphasized by a hard cut back to his empty cell. In her essay, Landsberg notes the distinction between sympathy and empathy. In this context, sympathizing is what the public would have done following the exoneration of the Park Five. Empathizing, however, is what When They See Us facilitates through an intellectual coming to terms with Corey's circumstances. By allowing audiences to witness what he had to endure in the deprived darkness of solitary confinement compared to the light and abundance of the outside world. Another section of the sequence that is effective in generating empathy is when Corey reimagines his past and takes a fictional day trip to Coney Island with his girlfriend Lisa, played by Storm Reed. As Corey takes Lisa's hand and is led out into the theme park, the camera style changes into an array of dynamic handheld wide shots that emphasize Corey's newfound freedom and expanded possibility. In addition to this, a chromatic aberration effect combined with a purple haze vignette encloses the frame and asserts that this is still very much a fantasy and this freedom is only occurring in Corey's mind. Jarrell Jerome's performance captures this duality. In the fantasy, Corey's open, relaxed body language, arms outstretched and carefree, contrasts sharply with his defensive, erratic posture in the cell, where he collapses against the wall, physically embodying psychological breakdown. The theme park is a symbol of the ordinary joys and freedoms stolen from Corey. By framing the scene around familiar tropes of young love, for example, winning his girl a prize and sharing a first kiss with her, DuVernay situates Corey within a world of universal human experience. This universality is crucial to generating empathy as it allows viewers to recognize their own desires, memories, and vulnerability in Corey, transforming his suffering from something distant and abstract into something deeply personal and relatable. Landsberg concludes her essay by underscoring the unique power of prophetic memory to affect people in profound ways, to change the way they think and how they act in the world, to bring about social justice. This sequence in When They See Us not only generates empathy by illuminating the injustice faced by the Exonerated Five, but aims to use that empathy to inspire reflection and potential social change. In Oprah Winfrey Presents When They See Us Now, a Netflix special, Ava DuVernay seems to echo Landsberg's call to action.
Our real goal is to be able to say, go America, let's do this, let's change this, and you can't change what you don't know, so we came together to show you what you may not know. Now that you know, what will you do? How will you change this? That's our goal.
So to conclude, this sequence generates empathy for the Exonerated Five for addressing the individual story of Corey Wise by juxtaposing the harsh and isolated reality of Corey's solitary confinement with the denied fantasy of a reimagined youth. The audience sees what Corey's life could and should have been had it not been terminated by a flawed American justice system, a system that DuVernay encourages her audience to change. Thank you.